Hi everyone, my name is Sally and I work for my family business, printmybook.com, where we design books for print, we print them, we bind them, and we can even sell them online for you. And I'm here today to talk through the most frequently asked questions that we get about book printing and self-publishing. I have a list, let's just get into it. So, question 1. Are you a publishing house? We get this question a lot, and the answer is no. We are not a publishing house. We are a printing business who can help you proofread, lay out your book for print, print it, bind it, and help you sell it online. Question 2. How much does it cost to print a book? This question is a little bit hard to answer. There are a lot of variables that go into every book. So we need to know those in order to give you a price. Like, how many books do you plan to print? Is it 10? Is it 5,000? Would you like to do a paperback book like this one that has a soft cover? Or would you like to do a hardback book like this that has a hardcover? Do you plan for your book to have just black and white text and illustrations like this one? Or do you plan for it to have colour pictures in it like this one? How many pages are going to be in your book? Like, this book is only 100 pages, so it's relatively thin. This book then has 500 pages and is quite thick. And then there's cover finishes. So this book has something called French flaps, which is this little bit here. And it also has this thing called soft touch, where it feels almost velvety. Or you could do something like this, where it has gold foil on the front and it's very shiny and pretty. Or you could do something like this one that has a dust jacket. So when you open the cover, you can take this off and it has gold foil on the inside. So there's a lot of decisions to be made, but when you do know what you want, then we can do a price for you based on that. If you don't know what you want your book to look like, I would say, if it's possible, please come see us, because we have a whole bookshelf of books just like the ones I showed there that you can look at and decide what you like and what you don't like, and that makes it easier for you, and it also makes it easier for us to give you a price. I do have a few tips to keep in mind though, I suppose, if you have a budget for your book project. The first tip is a paperback book will always be less expensive to produce than a hardback book. The second tip is a book that is just black and white on the inside. It will always be less expensive to produce than a book that has colour images or is completely printed in colour. And the third tip is that one larger order of books will be less expensive to produce per book than 2 smaller orders of books. And I will explain a bit more why that is in a later question. Okay, question 3. How long does it take to print a book? It takes longer than maybe you think it takes. There are 4 stages to making a book. There is setting, proofing, printing, and finishing. The setting and proofing stages are basically where you give us the materials for your book, like the text or the photos or anything you want on the cover. We lay it out for print in Adobe InDesign, and then we give you a proof to either say, yes, I'm happy with it, please print, or for you to make changes to. Now, depending on what you come to us with and depending on what you want the book to look like, that stage or those stages can be as long or as short as you like. We've had people come with a book that is ready to print pretty much. It only took maybe a week to lay it out for print. But on the other end of the scale, we've had people who have taken 6 to 9 months to have their book laid out for print. And that was because they were adding materials to it all the time, or there was people that it needed to go to be approved. So it can be very long, it can be very short. It's kind of up to you and your individual circumstances. For the printing and finishing stages then, that is when the book is printed, like the pages and the covers. The covers are made and then the book is bound and cut down to the right size. Those stages are usually much quicker than the setting. We would say normally maybe 2 weeks. It could be 3 if it was a hardback book, because the case, so that's this cover with the end sheet, is actually done by hand, so it takes a bit longer. Question 4. What do you need from me? When you go to your printer, you either have a print ready PDF or you don't. There's really kind of no in between. If you have a print ready PDF, that's perfect, we can print straight from that. If you don't have a print ready PDF, that's also completely fine, because we have 4 graphic designers who can lay out the book for print for you. What we would need from you is something like a Microsoft Word document with the text of your book, and also if you're including any pictures in your book, either JPEGs or PNGs of those pictures separately, or if you don't actually have JPEGs and PNGs, that's also fine. You can give us the actual pictures and we can scan them and turn them into JPEGs and PNGs for you. Once we have those materials from you, our graphic designers can lay out your book for print, and it'll look just as good as any book you would come across in a bookstore. Question 5. What about posting my book to people? A lot of people who write books want to be able to sell their book but not have the cost of delivering or posting the book to their customers be very expensive. Now, the advice I have here is really specific to Ireland. It might be useful to you if you live somewhere else, hopefully. Otherwise you can just skip this question. In Ireland, the different categories of post are determined by the weight and the size of the item being posted. And the 4 categories are a letter, a large envelope, a small packet, and a parcel. Now, most paperback books, like this one, will fall into a large envelope post category. But you need to keep in mind that the spine of the book, so this bit, plus the packaging that goes around the book when you're posting it, cannot go over 2.5 centimeters in width. If it does, it will go into the next category of post, which is a small packet, and that is like double the cost to post. The reason for that, I think, is because 2.5 centimeters in depth is what An Post have determined to be the average size of a post box. So it needs to be able to fit in through a post box, essentially. Now, it's hard to determine the depth and the width and the weight of your book if you haven't printed it yet. If you get in contact with me using our info@printmybook.com email address and tell me, you know, the size of the book and the number of pages and the type of book you're looking for, I'll be able to determine with pretty much 99% accuracy how much I think it's going to cost to post for you. That way then you can confidently say what the cost of your book will be to post and try and keep it low for your customers. So, question 6, is there a minimum order amount? So technically no, we don't have a minimum order amount. We can print 1 book for you if you like, but I really wouldn't recommend it because it can be very expensive. I would say if you're going to order books that you should get at least 10, and I'll explain more why in the next question. Last question, question 7. Why is a small order of books more expensive than a large order? But the reason is because of how books are made. Each book is unique, just like every human being, and all of the processes involved in printing, binding and finishing need to be set up specifically for that book when it's being made across all the different machinery involved. And unfortunately there is no shortcuts in bookmaking, so the same amount of setting up time is involved whether you're getting 10 books or 5,000 books. And for that reason, a smaller order of books is more expensive than a larger order of books. So there you have it, all of the answers to our most frequently asked questions about book printing and self-publishing. If there is a question I haven't answered, then you can always leave a comment, or you can email me on info at printmybook.com, and if you actually want to get a quote, I'll leave a link for our quote request page below for you, so you can also use that.